Hello, folks. Welcome to Timespinner Randomizer tournament match at Speedgaming Live here on twitch.tv/speedgaming. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the Timespinner community. I am Jim the Eternal. With me in the booth is Art Hunter Vera. And we've got two excellent racers here, Mikenekopi on the left and Nochibato on the right. We are in the second chance bracket. I believe this is round 2 of the second chance bracket, and I'm really excited to see how these runners do. Vera, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I rolled the seed, so it probably won't be nice to them. But all the more fun to watch, right?
That sounds very real. The seeds lately have been either jet seeds or just complete disasters, and it's always interesting to see which one is going to come up for each upcoming race.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think our runners are off, so we can get into it here. The first orbs that we're finding looks like Umbra Orb for our melee with no modifications to the damage, not plus or minus. And Jin Inferno is the spell, which is nice to see.
Yeah, also without modifications.
Mm-hmm. So we have the damage rando turned on. So any orb or spell that our runners find can be boosted, it can be plus, or it can be minus and have reduced damage from the standard, either double or half. So finding 2 neutral orbs with no modifications is not ideal, but it's better than minus. And we're going to be seeing what our runners decide to do from here.
It's already 1 laser access.
Yeah, 1 laser access and an early Eternal Coat, which is really nice. So right off the bat, we have Nochibato heading to the right immediately after going up these steps. And we'll see if Pi does the same thing. But there's been a trend of runners also heading to the left here. Yep, Pi's heading left. So the benefits of this is Pi is going to be going a little bit out of the way for not that many additional checks right now. But Pi will be able to tag a warp zone on the left side that'll then be able to work back to. So this is traversal that both of our runners are going to have to make at some point. And Pi making it now doesn't really cost him anything. But it does get him a couple of checks that Nochibato's not going to see here. So we'll see how that plays out, whether or not this is beneficial for him or not. Nochibato heading down to the Siren's Cave. Looks like tag the Siren's Cave warp and then heading back up after that. Okay. And then our runners are both going to converge over at the castle on the right side. And we should see them both heading there relatively soon. So you want to talk about some of the flags that we've got for this tournament, Vera?
Yeah, for sure. First of all, we have Quick Seeds. As you are already seeing, they already have their artillery attachment, which means they go speed. They have their dash already, which is very nice. Next to that, there's Enter Sandman and Unchained Keys, which means that players will start with a twin pyramid key, allowing for fast travel, and they have the teleports they can unlock. Well, they have to find it. It's an item to find. Mysterious Warp Beacon. Next to that, we have Prison Break, which is a new flag, which is that the military hangar gate is not locked behind bosses, but rather are also 3 different items to find in order to open all 3 gates. So there's a bit less of a need to fight most of the bosses.
Yeah, that's something that we've been seeing in a bunch of the races lately, is runners making the decision not to fight bosses while in that area, just because it's a bigger time investment for only 1 check, instead of something that's, inevitable, like needing to fight bosses in order to get into the lab.
Yeah, especially early game.
Mm-hmm.
if needed, they'll come back to it late game, and then it will just take a couple seconds and it's gone. But early game, it takes forever sometimes.
Yep. So we are seeing Nochibato running through this early castle area. Pi hot on Nochibato's heels. No additional progression yet, but we have found a couple of nifty items. Colossal Hammer we found was plus, so this is the spell associated with the Iron Orb, and is a really big hitter. It's a little finicky about positioning, but if they need blunt damage, then Colossal Hammer is definitely there to deliver. We also found the Icicle Ring, which is plus, which means that the orb associated with it, the Ice Orb, and the spell associated with that orb, Frozen Spires, are also going to be plus. Been seeing a couple runners use Frozen Spires to good effect, although it's not something that I'm used to doing. So I'm excited for Frozen Spires to make another appearance here.
Well, now you just gotta see if they'll use it or not.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it definitely is something that resonates with some runners and doesn't resonate with other runners. Shattered Orb, on the other hand, something every runner likes to see. Shattered Orb, the consensus best source of plus damage, and seeing it, or of blunt damage rather, and seeing it plus is always really nice. Nochibato heading into the Siren's Cave now with the Water Mask. That's a nice piece of progression to have found. That opens up quite a few underwater checks, as well as allowing our runners potentially access to the Maw Caves, the Caves of Banishment over on the left side of the map. And well spotted by chat, the gear, the first gear, is visible on the ledge underneath the Golden Idol location. So the goal for our runners in this game is to collect all 5 pieces of the Timespinner, and then using that either break into the pyramid from the lab over on the right side of the present, or using the mysterious warp beacon that Vera talked about earlier in order to get straight into the pyramid. And then the 5 pieces will unlock the final boss door. So those 5 pieces are a Timespinner wheel, a Timespinner spindle, and 3 Timespinner gears. We now know that one of those Timespinner gears is available. We know exactly where it is. It's going to require a little bit more vertical than our runners have, so they're going to be looking for double jump, celestial sash, light wall, or that Timespinner wheel that we just talked about in order to be able to get that piece. But then once they get that, they'll need the remaining pieces in order to beat the game. We now have Nochibato heading towards the left side of the map, following in Pi's footsteps. And Pi taking advantage of that water mask to go through the flooded basement loop, which is always stressful.
Got some galaxy earrings there too, which is nice.
Nice, very nice. Yeah, galaxy earrings is a lovely little piece of equipment. It is an accessory that increases the experience that you get for every kill using a given orb. So this there's some RPG aspects to this game. There's character level, and there's also orb level, in addition to the various stats that you can increase by wearing other pieces of equipment. And the orb level is a small contributor to damage, but the galaxy earrings are tuned very, very highly in the randomizer. So they give you lots of orb levels very, very fast. So that's a nice find early on in the game. We have Nochibato checking the Cantor in place. I didn't quite see the text pop up. The Cantor location is an optional boss fight. It does gate 1 check, so there is a reason to go and do it, but it's also a very late game location. So whatever boss is placed there is going to be pretty highly scaled up. I believe it's something on the order of 3,000 or 4,000 HP and quite a lot of damage.
And we have already seen in earlier races that sometimes it is necessary to go to Cantran and fight bosses that suck early game.
Mm-hmm. I think in this seed, we've already gotten the Water Mask, so there's room for a little bit more progression for our runners to find, I think. The seed is looking a little bit more open, so they're probably not going to be stuck fighting something awful at Cantoran early on. but definitely a problem in previous races. Something to be aware of. That the game will put a hard boss fight at Cantorin if it so feels like it.
It does hold all of the power.
Mm-hmm. So Pi mostly following in Nochibato's footsteps, right? Nochibato has gone off and explored a place, and then Pi shows up there almost immediately afterwards.
Only I don't think that Nochibato did the basement loop now, did he?
No, I don't think so. I think that's true. I think Nochibato didn't manage to get the basement loop done.
Where Pi did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, progression mostly pretty similar right now. There's not a whole lot of stuff that we found. Nochibato does have one thing on the tracker that Pi doesn't, which is the Kobo Familiar, which unlocks a boss fight once they get to the present. So not immediately relevant, but that boss fight will be available once they make it over to the library area of the present. So in the meantime, it's just a matter of checking what checks they have access to. They can't get into the Maw caves, into the Caves of Banishment, because that requires vertical. So Pi, you can now see, is going off to check one of the more out-of-the-way locations, the Lake Serene water checks. I would expect to see a waterfall check sometime soon as well if this doesn't pan out. Nochibato heading towards the left side of the map and fighting Genza at Azure Queen.
Okay, that shouldn't be too bad.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, yet again, did not see what was at Cantorin.
Yeah, I saw the text pop up briefly, and I didn't have quite enough time to see it.
So
this Genza fight proven a bit of a hassle here.
Oh. So some of you who know the game actually noticed that they are leaving quite some checks behind in terms of hidden walls, breakable walls. That's due to the flag Ice Pi. Which means you need the Oculus Ring in order to be able to break the breakable walls. You don't need to equip it, but you do have to have found it and have it in your inventory. So that sometimes makes that you either have a lot of things that are missed out that you have to backtrack for, or it can be absolute baits.
So Nochibato, with his slight lead, has now found present access in the Vines chest over on the left side, and it is the Zarian Cave warp. So here we are over on the left side of the present, right in the middle of Lake Desolation, and this opens up a lot more checks for Nochibato. Pi is again hard on his heels, right? Like very, very close. With the Genza fight ending, Pi is going to be picking up his own beacon here. And I believe both of our runners have burned the vines, which opens up yet another set of checks over here at the top area of Desolation.
Oh, Pi doesn't go to the future immediately just yet.
Interesting. We'll see where he's headed. I think he's probably going to burn the rest of the vines. I think both Pi and Nochibato got up to this top area of Serene and went left to fight Azure Queen, and neither of them went to the right side here with the other vines and a couple more checks. So if Pi is going to come out here and burn the vines, this seems like a reasonable thing to do, because that opens up those checks in Desolation that Nochibato's not going to be able to see right now. Nochibato's instead going to have to go through the lower route of Lake Desolation in order to make it over to the library area on the right side. Oh, no, Nochibato burned these vines. Okay, so Nochibato's already been through here. I guess Nochibato went through here before heading to Azure Queen? It seems likely. So, still, once again, pretty much at parity. We've got Pi and Nochibato in roughly the same area here. Or we will be soon. Pi just completing that top area in Serene. So I'm expecting this warp to take Pi to Desolation and follow in Nochibato's footsteps. Not saying Emperor Volturilis was at Cantorin. Okay, yeah, that's definitely a skippable fight. That's definitely a fight that I would skip in their situation. Yep. Volturilis, one of the 3 dad-likes. There's one Volturilis fight and 2 Nuvius fights. And those are designed with more movement tools than our players currently have. So with only single jump, no light wall, no celestial sash, there are some attacks that those enemies do that are just unavoidable. You have to get hit by them. So definitely a boss that isn't going to be fun to fight in a highly scaled location.
My nightmare. You blinked, you missed that fight just now.
Nightmare at the boot spot is anything at the boot spot is always a very easy fight. The boot spot is 400 HP, so any amount of levels and or decent equipment will just make that disappear in a flash. Nochibato going through the sewers area on the way to the library. Library, I think, a lot of people's favorite locations in the present. It's very check dense. There's a lot of things to pick up there, and it's kind of on the way, right in the middle between the left half and the right half of the map. So it's easy to access, and fun place to hang out. Looks like Pi found the Empire Orb and has switched to that by preference. Interesting that he's using that over Shattered Plus. I think a lot of runners are going to prefer Shattered Plus in that situation, especially if the Empire Orb is neutral. But Empire Orb also one of those orbs that I think people get really comfortable using as a part of their casual playthrough. It's one of those late game orbs that you pick up and feels like it does a lot of damage when you get it. So I think a lot of people end up using it. So it's a comfy orb for a lot of people. We'll see what Pi ends up using once he runs into any situation where he kind of needs to fine tune his equipment. For just clearing enemies, especially in this early part of the game, Empire Orb neutral is perfectly fine. Found an Oculus ring for Nochibato. So Nochibato already into the wow, and Lightwall. Okay, the library is loaded. Library is money. So Nochibato found the Oculus ring, which is what lets you break breakable walls. So that's now going to allow Nochibato to backtrack and open up all those breakable wall locations, as well as going forward. There's going to be a bunch of more breakable wall locations that they'll pass, and he's not going to have to abandon those checks anymore. The light wall is definitely a bigger deal, since that is one of the two sources of infinite vertical, and one of 4 sources of vertical progression at all. So that is a big find, and that's also going to open up a lot of stuff. So being able to fight the Golden Idol, being able to head into Alana's towers in the past, which it looks like Nochibato is going to take advantage of that and immediately do that thing. Nochibato going for the basement loot first. Yes, this makes a lot of sense. Even though it's flooded, it's still worth it. A lot of items in there. And this gives Pi's already been through here, so we know what Nochibato is going to find, and this gives Pi a chance to catch up.
Yeah, there's nothing really spectacular here. I mean, the Shadow Seal is
Shadow Seal's nice. Yeah.
But yeah, no actual progression there.
Mm-hmm.
So for the library to be actually loaded, I think there should be a piece of the time spinner there.
Well, maybe once they find the tablet, or once they find the D card. Nochibato menuing while in the middle of a throw trap. Good find with the galaxy earrings right next to a throw trap. I love that. So now Pi is going to find... so this is actually a slight advantage for Nochibato, although it turns out not to have been a real advantage. By doing the basement loop later, there's a breakable wall in the basement loop. So if Pi wants to check that breakable wall, now that he's found his Oculus ring, he's going to have to go backtracking into an area he's already been. Whereas Nochibato kind of was able to look at that on the way through, and didn't pay off. Nothing of value there. But that's the kind of slight advantage you can get by routing things in a different order.
I actually decided to do the Ravenlord spot.
Yeah, I think this is the Ifrit spot and the Ravenlord spot, both similarly scaled. It's the Ifrit in the library and Ravenlord in the lab. And in this case, we have Zarian at the Ifrit fight, which is a big fight, actually. This is even higher scaling than Zarian would normally have. Zarian, I think, is a 4,500 HP or 4,000 HP location, and the Ifrit spot is a 4,500 HP location, if I'm remembering those numbers right, something like that. Pi making short work of it though. Pi doing really well there. Jin Inferno covering a lot of ground. So Nochibato showing off that light wall on the right side, using it to get into Ilana's towers, the top area of the castle in the past. And Pi about to make routing decisions. Where are you headed, Pi? So Pi going back to clear up Desolation. It looks like Pi went through presumably the top half of Desolation on his first time through here. So we're going to see Pi clearing up the other part of Lake Desolation, grabbing the rest of the checks here, rather than progressing forward like Nochibato is. So we're seeing a kind of a real divergence here. Absolutely areas that both could check. I think a lot of runners like going to Ilana's towers because, again, it's something that's familiar. It's something that runners have had to do for a long time. So it's an area that they're relatively familiar with traversing. Whereas this part of Lake Desolation is like a little bit out of the way, easy to avoid, although in this case, necessary, the Timespinner wheel being found, which is a nice find.
Very nice find. So that is their time stop too.
So another one of the 5 Timespinner pieces, and provides some really good utility in that time stop feature. It lets you navigate some rooms slightly easier or reposition yourself against enemies. Pi using it to get a little bit of extra vertical in a slightly less awkward way than using Lightwall. But finishing that up, warping out, and then heading towards... so Pi going the other direction in the past. So we're going to see Pi checking out, believe he is headed towards the Maw Caves from here.
We've seen a gear at Nochibato.
Oh, another gear for Nochibato. Okay, so there's an extra gear up in Ilana's towers. So that's 3 of the 5 pieces. Good forward progress for sure. And relatively soon, we're going to start seeing some new checks over on Pi's side. There's this one breakable wall, which is a bit out of the way, but Pi decided to go a bit out of the way in order to get it. Gets Plasma Geyser Plus, which is exciting for a number of reasons. First off, it is a pink orb, which lets you into Mom's room, the Royal Room, I believe they're called, or the Yas Queen Room, if you're looking at the check names. And also, it indicates that Plasma, which is a hell of an orb, is plus. So Plasma is one of those orbs that got a... Wow! Good job, Ilana's towers. Okay, Spindle. Hold. I'll be back for that. But Plasma, along with Gun Orb, one of the orbs that got boosted for the randomizer because it didn't see a whole lot of use for a while. And so seeing Plasma Plus, if we see Plasma Plus, is going to be a big deal. It's going to be definitely one of the strongest orbs that are available out of the box. So the Spindle. Very good find for Nochibato. So that's 3 pieces on Nochibato's side, and the wheel on Pi's side. So collectively, we know where 4 of the 5 Timespinner pieces are, although we still don't have access to either the lab or the mysterious pyramid. So there's a little bit more work to be done.
So the last pieces will be Wet's Regrets, right?
Probably, yeah. Is Llama in chat? Do we have any other Wet Regret likers? Nochibato running into the Ravenlord fight up in Ilana's tower, which that sucks. That sucks. Ravenlord, a difficult encounter. A lot of platforming, a lot of jumping around. Definitely a fight that, in theory, wants you to have more vertical power. So coming in here with single jump light wall is going to be kind of difficult to manage. Nochibato doing pretty okay, relatively. Like I have seen this fight go way worse for people. And the Jin Inferno is just a huge weapon. Making the decision that it's not worth it. Immediately bailing.
Yeah, we saw Pi there checking the breakable wall in the basement loop.
Okay. And not too far out of the way, considering he had to run through that same area already. And Pi now following behind Nochibato into Ilana's towers. Nochibato going for a second try at the fight. I guess feeling okay about his odds, but didn't want to come in with that kind of pain from before. So now, kind of recovering his position, he's gotten a lot more damage while taking a lot less damage. So this is maybe a good call for him. Getting up from this corner is very hard to do, though. This is one of the rougher aspects of the fight. Pi moving into the Golden Idol location, which I don't think we saw Nochibato check.
No, we have not seen a burp yet.
So this is Azure Queen at the Golden Idol location. Yeah, this is the other bird boss. In case you are a bird boss enjoyer.
Yes. I'm a bird enjoyer of any kind.
Totally fair. Nochibato with some clutch consumable usage. Staying alive for that fight. There you go.
There we go.
Both bird bosses dying at the same time. Infernal Flames for Pi. Not a huge deal. And we'll see what Nochibato comes out with. I saw a Forbidden Tome. And I think a bunch of minor kind of filler stuff otherwise. So nothing really good for either of our runners. But Pi now heading up towards Ilana's Tower. So we're going to find that spindle and gear along the way. I don't think there's any checks in Ilana's Towers that runners are in the habit of leaving behind, except for maybe Struggle Juggle. So I would expect both of those things to be found by Pi. Pi also, if he decides to take advantage of it, has that Plasma Geyser. So he could have checked the Royal Room on the way up, decided against it. Maybe he'll be back for that later.
No mom check just yet.
No mom. not his real mom anyway.
That's fair enough.
Nochibato using the light wall here to get through the Struggle Juggle location. No struggling or juggling.
He'll have to. He doesn't have the wheel yet.
It's true. Or any other vertical besides light wall, so.
Yeah, true. I mean, I rolled the seat, remember?
Yeah, absolutely. This is why our runners are suffering. We love what you do here, Vera. So Nochibato, having gotten everything out of Ilana's Towers, what is your next step, Nochibato? Nochibato has not cleared the Bottom of Desolation. Neither of our runners have actually cleared the Maw location, so we might see that as kind of the next step. That is the next big area that is usually on people's radar. Pi finding his second gear. Nochibato probably going to clear the breakable walls that Pi did. So this is information that we already have. Nochibato going through this particular part of Lake Serene. And then probably heading towards the Caves of Banishment, the Maw Caves. We'll see what decision he makes here. At the very least, going to tag that warp, much like Pi did earlier. Yeah, quite a few checks that needed vertical over here in the drained Lake Serene area. So the light wall coming in handy, even if it is awkward to use. Of course, we know that nothing here is particularly relevant, so Nochibato's scouting that spot and then moving on. Nochibato still doesn't have the wheel. Wheel was in Desolation. Wheel was in the present area. So using light wall here instead of jumping on the dog's head. Getting that economizer ring. That is a nice find. A decent amount of utility given how much light wall they're using and how much aura juice they're using on light wall and in Jin Inferno.
True. Especially if this keeps being a single jump light wall run.
But now we're seeing Nochibato in new territory. So this is a territory, an area that Pi hasn't been to. So we're going to see a couple of new checks for Nochibato. And we'll see what comes up. I kind of like Nochibato's execution here on the mushroom towers, right? Using that backdash to get out of range of the poison once they drop it, and then with the with the Teleria attachment, you get kind of enough speed to jump over the poison while it's still there. You know, I appreciate this little bit of like movement execution to kind of get through those enemies. Those are irritating enemies to fight.
That's a really nice find. So whenever he is done here, he will probably go check the library for those checks.
The tablet unlocks the terminals at the downloadable terminals. So there's something like 4 or 5 of those in the library. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 and 7, 4 and 3. So 4 without the V card, 7 with the V card. Pi heading into the Ilana fight, the Raven Lord at Ilana fight. And yeah, Jin Inferno. This is the story of Jin Inferno.
Yep.
You spam Jin Inferno against bosses, and life works out mostly okay for you.
9 out of 10 times.
Yeah. Nochibato, other than the tablet, not finding anything in the Maw Cave so far. We did see a save and quit out of Nochibato after checking one particularly out-of-the-way corner, which is a common strategy. There's a particular routing method that lets you hit a save point on the way towards a location you'd have to backtrack from, so you can just quit out if none of the items are worth keeping. Oh, Pi, my heart is in my throat. Okay. Pi understands that he can heal with consumables. That's great. This is something that I have forgotten frequently as well. Yeah, time stop might have been a useful thing at that boss fight. Probably also slipped Pi's mind. I don't know that I would have remembered either. Time stop, something that you get very early in the vanilla game, but something that you don't always get very early in the randomizer. So it's easy to... gear number 3! And we are in no mode for both of our runners. We know where the last piece of progression is for both of them. Although we still don't have pyramid access, right?
Exactly. That's what we're missing now.
So pyramid access, we're going to be looking for the mysterious warp beacon, as we've talked about earlier, related to the Unchained Keys flag. And then the other way to get into the pyramid is by getting all 3 pieces of the laser gate, of which we have 1 of 3 right now, and then going through the lab on the right side of the present and using the Timespinner pieces to break time through a couple of extra boss fights. So much slower to do it that way, but if you don't have the mysterious warp beacon, then you do what you gotta. Eternal Crown for Pi, a big favorite. One of the better pieces of headwear, alongside the Valetian Crown and the Empire Crown.
Succubus hairpin. There we go.
Nice.
Double jump light wall.
Double jump light wall, a lot more comfy to play around with. Single jump light wall, very awkward. Double jump light wall, actually my favorite method of maneuvering around the game. Celestial Sash is easier, since that you press the button, you go up. But double jump light wall is a lot of fun to play around with.
Ooh, dude. Oh no, that's the past.
Was that mysterious, or that was Time Worn, wasn't it?
That was the past.
Okay. So that was the past access, which our runners have already pretty much full cleared the past. So probably not anything useful there. Pi taking on Volturilis at Cantorin. The Empire Orb actually working really well here. Even at neutral, Volturilis is weak to the aura type of damage, which is what the Empire Orb deals. So getting a lot of damage out of this orb. It's working out pretty well for him.
Nochibato is gonna find a hairpin here too.
Yep.
Nice.
Coming out of the Maw Caves and checking the Bat Ledge, which is, kind of traditional routing, taking that loop to its standard completion. So this breakable wall here, and then pretty easy from here also to go check Waterfall, which it looks like Nochibato is on his way to go do.
Keycard D we just found.
Keycard D is really nice, actually. That's going to be some more progression in the present. That's going to allow them past the library. So you had, but behind a breakable wall, which is great. So you had to get to the library in order to find the Oculus Ring, in order to break the wall in the pass so you could get the D key card.
Only Mikenekopi does not have the tablet just yet, which Nochibato does have.
That's true. Where was the tablet? In kind of an out of the... Oh, in the Maw Caves. Yeah. So Pi hasn't been down to the Maw Caves yet, so he's not getting those extra checks out of the library. Pi... Where are you going, Pi? Hanging out in Lake Desolation. I guess there might be 1 or 2 more checks that he missed, and he's being a little completionistic about it. Oh, okay. With the Oculus Ring and double jump and light wall, he now has the ability to get a couple more checks that he missed on the way through the first time. Empire Crown, yep. So Empire Crown and Eternal Coat together make the best in slot for damage output. The Eternal Crown actually gets you some sand economy, so your time stop uses a little bit less sand in order to stop time. And the Valetian Crown gets you some aura economy. Your spells cost a little bit less, or maybe your aura regen is a little bit higher. I'm not exactly sure on the details. But the Empire Crown is the highest raw numbers for damage. And the Eternal Coat, basically just best in slot for an armor piece. There's not better damage or defense in that spot. So both of us kind of going back to places they haven't been to, kind of getting the onesie twosie checks, as I've heard them called. I think that was popularized by Wef Jepster. Kind of out of the way, get 1 check here, 2 checks there, and then warp out and go find another 1 or 2 checks to go find somewhere else. Pi finally heading into the Maw Caves, or the Caves of Banishment.
And Nochibato actually finding that wheel we saw earlier at Pi's words.
Yeah, in Desolation. So Nochibato then, the first of our runners to collect all 5 of the Timespinner pieces, and still in a state without the ability to get into the pyramid, either via the warp or via the lab.
So they either have to get lucky and find the warp, and it being the good warp, so close to the actual end.
Mm-hmm. That would be nice.
Cool. Otherwise, well, it is what it is. There we go, Nochibato checking pink.
Ah. And finding nothing of value.
Too bad.
Yep. So this is interesting. This is the kind of quote unquote spindle hunt that we don't usually see. Most of the time, we find runners with full pyramid access and missing 1 last piece of the time spinner. Sometimes the spindle, sometimes a gear of the wheel. But in this case, they're looking for a way into the pyramid rather than trying to find their last few pieces. And once they find their way into the pyramid, they'll be in go mode. They won't need to think too much about their routing at that point. And Nochibato going to check the Golden Idol location, which I think we already know doesn't have anything relevant.
True. Where do you hope they will find the last pieces they need?
Well, with the D key card, I think we can expect stuff to be a little bit further on. So thinking about like routing terms, that's where I would be kind of focusing my efforts. Is I want to see what's after the library. I want to see what's in the D key card room in the library. I want to see if they can find the elevator key card or get any more value out of that kind of location. But Nochibato doesn't have that D key card yet, so that's suffering.
Yeah, true. And here we go. Pi also getting all of the pieces of the time spinner and checking Ma out of logic.
Oh boy.
Oh,
all right.
Let's just hope for this.
This is gonna be a fight, man. I hate seeing Varnagroth at some of the higher scaled locations, and Pi over here is doing this on a timer.
Sure is. No oxygen rips through your health like crazy.
Yeah. I don't know if this is gonna.
Oh, there we go.
I don't know if this is gonna work out for him. Nochibato also heading for that Volteralist fight. Nochibato now has that D key card in hand, though. So they are once again even on progression.
Yeah.
Progression parity for our two runners here.
And Pi not trying again.
I wouldn't either in that situation. Like, it is out of logic, so you are not necessarily going to find anything good. In fact, you're probably less likely to find something good in the captain's chest that the mall location unlocks. That time-worn warp beacon, what a troll.
Feels bad.
Mm-hmm. So, where are we headed, buddy? What's the plan? There's a couple locations. Looks like the Siren's Cave, still unchecked by Pi. Oh, maybe scouted. That seems more likely. I think he has gone through there already. So, got some of the things and then scouted some stuff and decided he didn't want it. So that's why it's showing up on the tracker. This is going to be a quick check to the Royal Room, which we already know doesn't have anything. Nochibato checking the D key card. So this is the direction that I wanted to see. We have seen that room before,
Correct.
but Nochibato may be heading towards the elevator towers, toward the Varndegrave towers. Yep. And Pi, like 10 seconds behind him, making the same decision here.
I mean, follow the progression, right?
I believe Nochibato has already checked the downloads, although I'm not positive.
Yes.
Alright, so Pi is now checking those downloads. And Pi has already gotten the D key card prior to this. So the D key card room has been opened.
V card.
V card does open a couple more checks in the library if he wants to come back for them.
I mean, what are 3 checks?
Yep, 3 more checks, 3 downloads.
I mean, 3 very easy checks, that is.
Yeah, so Nochibato going through the area of the Varndegrave towers, the elevator towers that he has access to. And we're gonna see Pi doing the exact same thing, picking up that V key card, and probably following that.
Yep.
Merchant Crow. There it is. There's our mysterious warp beacon, and that is go mode for Nochibato.
Let's go.
Wow, this is so close. Pretty fast seed, right? 40 minutes. Not like a jet seed, but pretty fast.
No.
And Pi just needs to go back to the V key card room, and that'll get him the mysterious warp beacon. So they're in very similar locations. Oh, it's at the start of the pyramid. This is a hassle to make it through. At least it's double jump light wall. It's not, single jump light wall. It's not like just light wall.
Not like yesterday? Sad.
So we will probably see attempts at the notorious light wall skip. So the light wall skip, there is a huge vertical shaft in the pyramid. And, Nochibato not even bothering. Nochibato deciding that it is not worth his time. He's just going to fall straight to the bottom and then light wall his way up. But you can, with correct timing, drop a light wall while falling, and then use your double jump to grab that light wall very near the top of this shaft, instead of needing to climb up all the way from the bottom.
Let's see if Pi will do it in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
He will succeed in that. That would be quite some time safe right there.
Yep. Yeah, this is... Wow, what a nail biter. This is so close. And then depending on the bosses that show up in the last location for a Sandman and Nightmare. Oh, Pi trying for it, not quite getting it. Very close.
Bad.
Yeah, if Pi had hit light wall skip, that would have put him ahead. For I think the first time this seed, maybe the second time this seed, would have put Pi in a position where he was closer. Pi looking pretty good with these double jump light walls though. He's looking like he has a little bit more practice using double jump light wall. So what are our bosses? This is Nochibato's race to win or lose at this point.
Who's end boss? Come on.
So for Sandman, we have Prince Nuvius. This is the earlier Nuvius fight, which is very similar to the later Nuvius fight, just with a few less techniques available. And you got to go quickly, Nochibato. Pi is right there. Yep, Pi entering that same fight. Now both of them in the same boss fight. My God, it's right here. It's right here.
Nochibato did take quite some time to menu for a little.
Sitting at very low health. This is worrisome.
And don't forget, there is a bit of a difference in stream actual time.
Yeah, Pi is 10 seconds behind on the stream.
Oh no!
That's a death for Pi. That's really rough. Nochibato getting out of that boss fight, moving into the Golden Idol fight, and Pi unfortunately needing to start the Prince Nuvius fight over.
Oh, that's really too bad.
Yeah, that might in fact be what ends up making the difference here. The Golden Idol fight, while a bit of a slog sometimes, not particularly difficult. So I think Nochibato is going to be able to handle this one relatively cleanly. Pie's still on the Empire Orb. Empire Orb not the best choice against Prince Nuvius. I think Prince Nuvius is strong to aura.
Comfy orbs be comfy.
Yeah. That's very true. I think you just use what you're happy with. The Shadow Seal doing some good work though. It does mean that Pi needs to play a little close to the bone when it comes to health. But the more damage he takes, the higher the damage he's going to be dealing. So his damage has climbed from 20 to 45 per hit. There he goes through the Prince Nuvius fight. So now they are both in the Golden Idol fight, and there is Nochibato with the win.
Congrats.
You can get your exclamation marks in chat. Congratulations, Nochibato. And we'll see if we can get him in here for an interview. And in the meantime, Pi doing an appropriate amount of work on the Golden Idol fight. I think we're going to see this fight end sooner rather than later. Nochibato, how are you feeling?
Vera, I could have easily skipped that hairpin.
Yes, you could.
What are you trying to do to us?
Don't worry about it.
Oh no, did Pi die on the Golden Idol?
He
Oh
did.
no!
Oh, bummer. Well, Pi's still in pretty much the same place. Has to get through Prince Nuvius one more time. And we've definitely seen that he's capable of it. So, not too worried.
So yeah, not bad. So what do you think of the seed?
It was very much, you're going to do everything you can, and once you think your data checks, there's just that one more you've forgotten, and it was the D card, and then that led you over there to get the B card, and no. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah, a lot of running around on this seed. A lot of different chains of progression.
Overall, relatively fun. Just, I would have liked to be able to, it felt very piecemeal, and that's never enjoyable from my standpoint.
Sure.
Also, forgetting I had Jin's Inferno to kill some of the bosses kind of sucked.
Yeah, Jin's Inferno's a hell of a toy.
I was like, oh, Ravenlord, I can't. This is going to be a fun fight. I fall the first time. Wait a minute, I have Jins. I could have just. Never mind. Let's try this again.
Oh, we saw
Yeah,
that.
the second time through on Ravenlord was much cleaner.
Assuming I could just get up on those barrels, their hitbox needs to be something a little more defined. Because I swear I was on top of it like 4 times and I jumped through it.
Yeah, I always have a problem with those too. That fight is really difficult. We're almost through here with Pi.
Just stick in those light walls.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
There it is. So Pi finishes up with a official race time of 48 minutes 55 seconds. Nochibato has an official race time of 46 minutes and 2 seconds. Get your second exclamation marks in chat for Pi, and hopefully Pi can join us here in the booth.
Thank you for saying something. I finally stopped my timer. I don't think I hit my head. It's kind of hard to hit your head when you don't have a sash, Linnaeus. Of course, it's a Veriseed, so we should expect that by now.
Yeah, kind of right. I mean, this is only the second seed I rolled, so I've just cursed runs before.
Oh, okay.
Can I
That's
say?
slightly better.
But both runs I rolled were, or at least this one, mostly single jump light wall.
Ah, there he is.
Hello,
Oops.
welcome on in.
I was actually in Germany for a hot second there.
Oh,
I almost clicked on that link. It's like, why are there two? I don't understand.
I know, I
Oh.
saw those two. I'm like, did it mess up? It's okay, whatever.
Yep.
What a race,
And
though.
then, and then the Deutsch one was the big invite, so you want to click that one because it's the big shiny button.
Right?
so you didn't want to join Batty?
I did.
I wouldn't-
talked to her
I
for like,
wouldn't mind.
2 seconds.
I wouldn't mind joining Batty, but I wouldn't understand a word he said.
Ah,
Well.
what a good seed.
Yeah.
Really?
I can feel the air quotes dropping into place. for
Oh no,
Pi.
no. Honestly, it was a really good seed. I just those stupid deaths at the end were like anxiety / like, oh my god, he's not done. I gotta hurry up, and then I just
Mhm.
didn't pay attention to my health.
Yeah, so for pretty much the entire seed, Nochibato was ahead by like 10, 30, 40 seconds. And there was a little bit of divergence in a couple of places, but then you all sort of reconvened at about the same place. And going into the pyramid, it was the same. Nochibato was ahead by like 10, 20, 30 seconds. So Pi, if you had hit that light wall skip, that could have been the race. That could have been it.
Thing I'm not good at.
Something it's worth practicing for sure.
Oh, it is.
Oh, that, but also the two deaths.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
the deaths definitely didn't help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a very good performance from both of you.
Oh yeah. I felt
I
good about
thought
it for sure.
I thought about the light wall skip in the pyramid, and then I realized I had Jin's Infernal on.
Oops.
Yep. Yeah, I saw you tossing out that fireball on the way down, and it was like, all right, well, that's where we are.
Yep.
So how did you feel about the routing of this seed? It was kind of all over the place with different progression chains in a couple of different places. Nochibato, I think, was talking about running around and going to the D card to the V card, back to the library. Pi, how'd you feel about it?
Honestly, it felt kind of straightforward. You just once you got that progression item, you just follow it until the next progression item. Like, yeah, you had to do a little bit of ping-ponging back in library, but like, it's one of those things that I just kind of forgot I had tablet. I'm like, oh crap, I gotta go back to the library, and then that would have done it.
Yeah. A lot of different progression pieces kind of flowing. Like Vera and I were both waiting. There was a point at which you had diverged enough that both of you had hit some of the individual time spinner pieces. So we knew where all of the time spinner pieces were, but neither of you had collected all 5 yet.
Oh man.
So both of us were sitting here like, okay, well, there's one more thing we need in order to get out of here.
Yeah, once we got all the pieces, I'm like, where's our pyramid access? I'm waiting for a laser access. I'm waiting for teleports at up labs.
I think both of you last location that mysterious warp.
Yes.
Of course we did.
Yeah.
I think this is pretty much a full clear for both of you.
I got that wheel. I was happy. It's like, finally, I got the wheel. I might be able to do something. And then, wait. I don't have a... How am I getting... No!
Yep.
Yeah, Prism Break definitely has seeds like this. It's been really interesting, right? Without Prism Break, you still would have been in a position where, all right, I'll just go kill the bosses and that'll open the way to the lab, whether or not I find the beacon. But in in these tournament settings, it's been really interesting to be stuck in that position. It's like, all right, well, I guess I still need to find more progression.
Well,
Yep.
to kill those bosses, I mean, you saw Varney in most spots. A gas mask would be quite helpful there.
Yeah, I was hoping that would have been something if I'd actually beaten it. It's stupid.
I avoid that fight like the plague without the mask. I don't like running through the pass in the poison. It kills me every time.
Well, I figured I was done with
Yeah.
all the past checks. Like I had burned all the vines, got all the hidden checks. Like I would have had crash site if anything.
Knowing
you
our
usually
luck,
hit
the
that
crash site would have had the A key card as bait, and then you would have been sidetracked into going into the Zarian caves.
Where were
Yeah.
all the cards?
Unknown.
I can pull up the spoiler.
Yeah,
Oh,
if
I
either of you wants to
better
bring up the
spoiler.
spoiler, you're probably closer to it
Yeah,
than I am.
dude. Start
I
a few
don't know how
times.
to do that.
Me neither.
Come on.
All right, Pi will do it. There's a
20
button you
million
can press
credits.
on the save screen for each of the individual load files, and it'll write a document to your computer.
Oh,
Yep.
That's interesting.
I gotta remember where it puts it. Documents.
Everybody's always talking. I'll just check the spoiler log. There are no
Right.
spoiler logs. This is not how these seeds are generated. You're all cheating. I don't know how.
Yeah, 720. Key card. Key card D, key card V. B was in Vandy Tower's right.
Okay.
Okay.
So oh no, that was actually Vandy's spot kill. Key card A was in the lab, behind the little mini boss thing. And C was also in Vandy Towers in the medbay terminal.
Okay. A lot of out of the way stuff.
Yeah, we weren't getting those.
Yeah, very much didn't need to get to it.
all
Well, then
baits.
you need elevator key card, which would have been in Vandy right on the bottom floor.
Oh man.
So I think those are all locked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that Timespinner Randomization does pretty well is put stuff in inaccessible locations because you won't need it.
Yeah, I'm always a fan of good old beatable logic.
All right. Well, I think I don't have any more questions for you folks. Vera, anything else you want to say?
Not me. No.
All right.
Anything
Well,
to run
I think Pi, Nochibato, any final words from either of you? Let's start with Nochibato. Any final words? Any shout-outs?
Just thank you, Vera and Jim, for putting on the comms, the speed gaming for the tournament, and please don't roll C's like this for me, Vera. Please. Just
It was
early sacks is
fine.
all I ask.
Roll some more of these.
Always happy to be here. Pi, any final words?
No, it just felt good. Just gotta play more Timespinner every once in a while, not just once a year.
Same.
True. Well, for everybody else hanging out here, thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the Timespinner Randomizer. Thank you for supporting Speed Gaming. Drop a follow towards all the Speed Gaming channels. There's Speed Gaming through Speed Gaming 6, I think, that we have visited so far. Just follow all of them. You won't regret it. Drop a follow for our runners. Drop a follow for your friendly commentators. And a big shout out to Speed Gaming for supporting all of the randomizers that they do, and especially, the one that is nearest and dearest to my heart, the Timespinner Randomizer. So thank you, Speed Gaming, for giving us the space on your channel. And what do we have in the future? What is coming up?
Well, later today we have, let's see, Crimdall versus Ragnoth at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Speed Gaming 5.
Cool. And Nochibato, moving forward into the second chance bracket, you are going to be fighting against the winner of Culio MZX versus Gabriel J. Campos. I don't know if that match is scheduled yet, but we'll be on the lookout for that one. Pi, unfortunately, fighting for your tournament life, I think this is it for you.
Yeah, that's alright. I got another tournament in like 2 days, so.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Might lose on that one.
With Link to the Past, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
AD key
Very
drops.
Very cool. But I think that is it for us. So, thanks again, everybody, for being here, and have yourselves a good rest of your day.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.